I have not been consistently making videos like I was in 2022 and 2023, and for me to come back with a video like this is probably depressing as hell, but I think a small few would have seen this coming a mile away. Rest assured, whether you already understand or not, there is a reasonable explanation for what's happening to Bronze Legacy, but for the sake of context, I'll start from where it all began. As many of you know, I have worked on Bronze Legacy as a co-founder since January 2023, which would be a total of around 19 months. I sought to make it entirely different from other versions of Brick Bronze by adding custom balance and quality of life changes made by me or suggested by the community. This came with plenty of changes over that year and a half, and every single one of them, whether they were suggested by the community or not, was implemented into the game by me and me alone. At first, this wasn't a problem since this was all I had to do, but my responsibilities grew rapidly in Bronze Legacy. I went from balance changes to re-uploading the game, working with sprite data, adding entirely new Pokemon, buffing the game's trainer AI, regularly fixing bugs, and soloing several updates until now. This wasn't always voluntary and was appreciated on even fewer occasions. I was still learning throughout this entire process and often made some mistakes, but I often received more blame than what was warranted in a very non-constructive manner. However, I didn't think of leaving at the time because I thought that not only was I not capable of working myself, but there weren't many options to work with since the Brick Bronze community has been pretty shit for a while. I also thought that I should at least finish what I started and not selfishly leave the players in the dust. I didn't mind the workload itself for a while since I genuinely enjoyed Bronze Legacy and what I was doing with it, but truthfully, the time I put in outweighed the two founders combined a long time ago and was not properly compensated for. For those 19 months, I only managed to scrape a little over $2,000 in USD, which I wasn't concerned about too much at the beginning, but it was bothering me as time went on, especially since I started paying for the player database in April. I already previously mentioned that I handle every balance or quality of life change that was implemented into Bronze Legacy, which is quite extensive on its own, but my workload still massively increased to keep the game alive, and I rarely received pay or even any sort of recognition from the dev team. Not to mention, Albert doesn't script jack shit, and Isaac's additions to the game don't even come close to what I did. I'd receive some praise once in a blue moon just for Albert to talk shit behind my back and think I wouldn't notice. Not to mention the way he's copiously spammed slurs anytime he got upset. A lack of pay wasn't always the fault of the two founders because of Roblox moderation, but that would soon change and I'll get back to that. As time went on, Bronze Legacy's management got worse and worse and worse, with me being left unable to do anything about it. I'd get berated by Albert for laying out any staff guidelines, recognizing other developers, and I couldn't even give spawner permissions to newly promoted staff. The staff team had also complained about the unfair treatment, but Albert apparently couldn't be bothered to care. There were many times when I was the only one working on the game, and anytime I'd release an update, all Albert would do was nitpick at any bugs he found. Riveting. A good example of the two founders' unreliability would be when I went on vacation on June 8th this year, and everything that happened between when I came back a month later and now. Between June 8th and July 8th, there wasn't even as much as a new code. There was one small raid UI update, but that wasn't made by the founders themselves. The game had stagnated. However, between the time I came back in July and now, I was the only dev working on the game. I had soloed every single update and bug fix for that month and a half, including scripting several legendaries and cutscenes which I had never done before up until that point. And guess what? Me and the map builder for those legends, Dread, never got paid for any of it. You wanna know why? Because Isaac, who could never be bothered to even communicate, let alone work on the game, had been puppy guarding and embezzling funds from our group since I went on vacation. Yeah, and even before we pulled our funds into one group in June, I would have to give the upload outs I created to Albert, who asked Isaac to sell them and got nothing back. Not to mention Isaac once demanded 50% of Bronze Legacy's revenue because of a promise he and Albert made before I even joined the dev team. This combined with Albert's recent ban wave and data wipe of recent or former staff members, acting like an asshole throughout the entire process, led me to think that migrating Bronze Legacy was the best option for both me and the players. He was out here banning staff even if they just simply talked to Celebrity, who currently owns Project Bronze, and didn't let his staff work anywhere else even though they didn't receive pay. Albert even tried asking for the funds after I linked the purchases to a group I owned when I caught wind of Isaac selling our revenue behind our back. While setting up this backup server, someone leaked it and sparked some drama in the general chat of Bronze Legacy. I somewhat understand why someone would do that because they were unaware of what's going on, but that nearly cost the entire game and everyone's data. That's when Albert started saying some even dumber shit, trying to gaslight the player base to feel bad for him like he did nothing wrong. He then said he didn't mind me making another PvP copy or quitting as long as I didn't use Bronze Legacy's file. I've worked on that file for more time in a month than you have its entire existence. You can fuck right off. Him also not caring was a flat lie since he was talking shit about it in general, and he even asked Kid Edge to merge Bronze Reborn with Bronze Legacy out of nowhere. We also had to make a decoy server when we got Reddit out to buy some more time, and all he did before it was deleted was start a petty fight with former staff. Not only that, but he tried destroying the evidence in BL's general by purging thousands of messages. He then made an announcement saying that he was returning on the 18th, but he was definitely just gonna fuck around since he declared that he would have 0 time for the game in a month anyway. So, Albert, you lied to your players, you lied to your devs, you lied to your staff, and you told yourself that it was okay. Albert kicked Isaac from the database when I told him about him selling our funds, and then he publicized that by saying there's no point if he doesn't pay for it. This fucking hypocrite. Alright, so then there's no excuse for what happened next.
As for you, bitch, you will be under the prison as compensation for your lying bullshit. You're cooked.
After the game went down and I finished this video, I revoked Albert's access to player data. You probably saw this video because of the server announcement, but don't worry, the game's features and all of your data are safe and will be in Project Roria with no rollbacks or wipes. In terms of how this affects the players as a whole, it was basically just a migration and rebrand of BL with new management. I've already cut contact with Isaac and Albert, and before anyone tries, no, I'm not getting invited into some whack-ass group chat to talk this shit out. My decision is final. It wasn't an easy one, but I could not bear the founders being ungrateful freeloaders for any longer. You can find the new server link in the description, which is still being set up as of right now, but will be finished as soon as possible. That brings us to the end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.